Most
If you're blue and you don't know where to
go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on a horse.
I'm not in the Reds. Just thinking
Well, you went
Chris
there.
from
I went
Family
Young
Guy.
Frankenstein.
Ah,
We'll put it together eventually.
horses don't drink British coffee.
British coffee.
Horses.
I mean,
The British definitely don't have any coffee. There's no flavor in Britain.
No,
nope.
but there's a lot of
Even the tea didn't come from there. They
Believe me,
stole it.
this tea includes milk and a teaspoon of sugar, and they would probably kill me for that.
no. They love sugar. Look at their teeth.
No, the sugar's fine. It's the milk that's the problem.
Oh, right. We're recording, by the way.
That's fine.
That's a good idea.
I have British friends.
I feel
Milk,
like
butter.
Ooh, I do like that. I like that.
Oh, hang on.
Insulting the British is a good
like
way to
that?
start the show.
It's gonna get even better. Dig this.
Oh, would you look at that?
New York
This
City,
guy.
New York City Ghostbusters. You know,
They make that in a roomy 2X, because that's about the only way this fat ass is fitting in something like that.
I don't know, man. I got it for Christmas, not this past year, but the year before. So 2021. Sarah got
Very
it
nice.
for me from Amazon, maybe.
Yeah. That's
I
very
like
cool.
the military. It's got the military. Like,
Oh, yeah, I hadn't noticed that. I
tattoo
just saw
thing.
the shoulder patch and then obviously the chest patch. Very nice.
Yes.
So you can put on your sleeve ribbons as an official member of the Ghostbusters Army.
Mm-hmm.
he can put it on the Ritz.
Yeah.
Well, this is where fashion sits.
Tonight's episode of Horse Time, by the way, is brought to you by Taco, both the singer and the food.
One of them has more money than the other. We'll let you decide which.
One of them doesn't leave a bad taste in your mouth. You figure it out.
If memory serves, okay, yes, Taco is still alive. Okay.
He
thought that
is. Yeah, no, he's alive and doing well, from what I understand.
Taco.
Which, by the way, an interesting origin for, and this is totally just stomping on what the show could be, because what the fuck else are we going to talk about?
There ain't no show. It's what we make of it, so please.
Taco is Indonesian-Dutch,
Right.
which is a wild combination, and then started
But
his
Cody,
career
that
in
doesn't
Germany.
answer the question. Is he Chinese or is he Japanese?
He's Taco from Takosha.
Which ocean?
Oh God, there's a. Okay, we're recording, so I can't disclose Emily's. Emily knows her daytime job is very public, but she had students who were having that kind of discussion that you can't call the Indian Ocean because that's an offensive phrase.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which took a little. Yeah, Lindsay, that's how it goes. It took a little bit of discussion based on that. So
You talking about
It's a good
the Native American
the
Ocean?
American Ocean. Yes, that's where that conversation went for a minute. Apparently.
I appreciate the fact that Taco is his actual name.
Yeah, his actual name is
It's
Taco
Taco.
Okurse or Okurse. Ockerse. Yeah, Okurse. Yeah, Taco just that's a child. A child in Indonesia was named Taco, which is sure.
God
Parents were very impressed by the food.
God help me, I loved it. They took one trip to America, had some tacos, and were like, "Oh, we're naming our kid this." It was.
To America.
Where do you get tacos other than America? France?
Yes.
You want a French taco?
I mean, in fairness, according to his biography on his website, his childhood years were spent moving around the world, including the Netherlands, the United States. So at least, after the fact, they could blame it on the food. Singapore, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Germany. World traveling ass.
I like that this show is dedicated entirely to tacos so far because Hunter, this reminds me of when we got on that fucking Jonathan Frakes kick. And it was just every show was dedicated to Jonathan Frakes.
To be fair, you've gone through a couple of different obsessions
I have.
this week between Bob Holly.
Oh, how do you like
Right?
him?
How do you like me now? And then Taco came out of nowhere.
Now I need Taco Holly.
For a second there, it was the Green Della Bean came back in.
So
He
sad
never
that
left.
didn't have to.
He never
That
left.
didn't have to.
No, he never
He
left.
definitely got reinvigorated though.
Well,
reinvigorated.
he is what is it? Reigniting the Green Day Bean community.
He's reinvigorating it.
Lindsay, do you know? Before we get back on Taco, do you know where Green Day Bean is from? He's from Ireland.
That's true. That is true.
That is an honest statement.
All right, I'm gonna Google "come Ireland" real quick, and I'm gonna regret it.
I really hope you have Safe Search on.
I do not.
There you go. I expect nothing different.
I'm looking to see if there's any sketches that
Shannon
just
doesn't
jump out at
believe
me.
in Safe Search.
Although there really is a "come Ireland," so good on them. I bet it's not pronounced "come," but I hope it is.
How
Sure, they hope it isn't, but, you know.
The QVC auditions. We definitely did the QVC auditions once, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
QVC.
Okay.
Was Taco ever on SNL? Now I need to know.
Surely not.
No, I was about to say. I feel like this is something we would have known well before now.
Right, because I would figure that I don't know when was putting on the Ritz.
I can tell you because searching Taco SNL gives me Taco Town, Taco Math, and Del Taco Shoot.
Oh,
so unfortunately, no singer, but those 3 great sketches.
You don't want to kill yourself. You just want a taco.
We should definitely do Taco Math. That's one of Lindsay's favorites.
Sound like you're hard. What the hell?
No, I need this to not start.
Wait, which one?
Taco Math with Jessica Chastain and Heidi
But
Gardner.
if the chicken taco is the blue car,
And the red car
beef taco is the red
Well,
square.
interestingly, that only needs 4 people, and I just happen to have it right here.
What? What? We're not live streaming this show, by the way. So Kaz isn't here, so I didn't feel the need to live stream. Kaz is on a plane right now, heading this way though, so he won't
horse.
be. The horsefly.
Doesn't make it sound ominous at all.
He's on his way here to get us, to finally
That's right.
shut us the
Whoop ass.
fuck up.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
That's right.
So
tell me, is Bob Holly or is Taco Holly putting on the hardcore? Is he putting on the heavyweight? Like, what's the dissertation here?
he's putting on the
I
weight.
think actually, it's how do you put me on now?
Sure, yeah.
I can hear
How do
Lindsay.
you rinse me now?
Lindsay's not by her mic, but I can hear her giggling upstairs.
No.
So putting on the Ritz by Taco came out in 1982. Who was the cast of SNL in 82?
Joe Piscopo. Well,
No, Murray was still there.
Well, right, but Piscopo was with Murray.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
They were the only 2 that came or stuck around after
was
the episode.
gone, but
Yeah.
it would have been
Oh.
Murray,
Holy
Piscopo,
shit.
Aykroyd.
No.
Aykroyd left in 79.
So listen to this. I got it pulled up here. Here's your.
I was trying to do it now.
Eddie Murphy? Was Eddie Murphy there?
Is this 81, 82, or 82, 83?
82, 83. It was Joe Piscopo, Eddie Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I was not aware of that one at that
She
time.
did it
period.
for 1 season. I
He
forgot
was
about
on
that.
for 1 season.
I didn't know
did
when,
not
but
go
yeah.
well.
Gary Kroger, Tim.
Don't know who that is.
I don't know that one either. Tim Kazurinsky, who you may remember as Sweet Chuck from Police
I
Academy.
was about to say.
Yeah.
There's only one
okay,
thing you
okay.
probably know him from.
Brad Hall, Mary Gross, and Robin Duke. I know 4 of those people. I know half the cast. They you know what? Looking at that cast, other than Piscopo and Murphy, they probably couldn't afford Taco.
Well, when Murphy came in, like, that was his season, and that might be his first season. He absolutely fucking took over. That was the whole reason the show was saved. Eddie Murphy saved SNL.
They got rid of the
the
entire cast, other than him and Piscopo, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, wasn't that the bit that the cast was on fire when Lorne came back, and he only brought Murray and Piscopo with him?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I'm on Eddie Murphy's bio trying to see what year he joined SNL, and of course it doesn't fucking say what year.
While you're doing that,
I know I mentioned it to you. Go ahead.
well, I want to mention these are the musical artists for 1982. By the way,
I was curious.
Rod Stewart, the Kinks, Miles Davis, Fear, Rick James.
Oh, wait. If Fear was there, that means Belushi was there. Fear only ever performed when Belushi was there. So maybe that was the season before.
Okay. This
was Belushi alive in 82?
Well, okay. To be fair, this is 81 going into 82. So this is the first half of the season.
So this is season 7.
Fear, infamously, Fear was on the show one time. Belushi was a huge fan of him. They showed up. They caused a fucking riot.
Yeah,
and they're on that list of, like, you guys are never welcome back in this building.
Right.
Shannon, you mind me grabbing because I've got the thing here for Fear. Quote, in the cold opening, Donald Pleasence tries to open the show with the live from New York Saturday Night phrase in a different type of spelling, the only line used for the seventh seat, whatever. Until Eddie Murphy shows up to suggest he do a vomit for luck. As Eddie Murphy leaves the bathroom, John Belushi appears from the other stall, stares into the camera, and says nothing. And that is the episode Fear played on in 1981-82. What the actual fuck?
All right.
Belushi was whacked out of his mind at that point, though.
Oh, yeah.
He was.
Well, Belushi was gone in March of 82, and that episode was Halloween night 81, so he was gone 5 months later.
Belushi was in one of the most, like, unfunny but strangely captivating skits. You probably know which one I'm talking about. The one in the future, where he's talking about how everyone else had died. And that is such a weird skit, man.
It reminds me a lot of that. Was it Phil Hartman and Gilda Radner who did they did the dance that like really, it was not meant to be funny at all.
It wasn't Radner. It was it Jan Hooks?
Who was that? I think it was Jan Hooks. You're right. Because I'm like, Radner was gone by then. Yeah, I think it was Jan Hooks.
Love is a Dream.
There it is. Yeah, where it's just like them dancing. It's this very just like kind of not somber, like I don't know, dreamlike. Like it doesn't seem real, and then it just is over, and you just Krusty the Clown. What the hell was that?
Yeah, just
didn't they play that when he died on the episode, like afterward?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, they did. Yep.
To continue that, by the way, Rick James.
Yeah, sorry to have stepped on that. I
need to point out Rick James performed "Give It to Me, Baby" and "Super Freak."
That's a hell of a double bill for an episode in terms of songs. I mean,
seriously, it don't get much bigger than that. Although the next episode was the Go-Go's with "Our Lips Are Sealed" and "We Got the Beat." That's also too hot. Not Rick James level hot, but still pretty hot.
Right.
You're underselling that episode because it's the Go-Go's playing those two songs, and then Billy Joel playing Miami 2017, Seen the Lights Go Out on Brooklyn, and She's Got Away from a Manhattan recording studio. So you get a 4-song episode with fucking Billy Joel and the Go-Go's in 81.
And Bernadette Peters performing a song filled with masturbation innuendo called "Making Love Alone."
I mean, The Jerk did come out, a year prior, so
Please don't say The Jerk when talking about this.
I'm sorry, I was very distasteful, and I make no apologies for what I said.
The Jerk is very distasteful.
Oh, whoa, don't you speak ill of The Jerk.
No, never mind. Anyway, Meatloaf, the Spinners, the Allman Brothers, Jennifer Holliday, Lindsey Buckingham. That's a good one.
Lindsay, I'm sorry, we ran out of time.
Lindsay, come on.
Lindsey Buckingham.
You're my best friend, Lindsay.
Lindsey Buckingham. And he's just sitting there, and eventually he grins.
One of my favorite musicians that no one else has heard of, Luther Vandross.
I knew that.
Yeah, definitely heard of Luther Vandross.
That's a deep cut right there.
I assume, by the way, the Spinners did Rubber Band Man. Was that still like big for them at that point?
Then came You, I'll Be Around, and Working My Way Back to You.
Wow. Yeah. The only song I know off the top of my head from the Spinners is Rubber Band Man.
I like that one. It's like Rubber Band Man. Wow, that's the Taliban.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's a good Spinner song.
That's definitely it.
Okay, so
got it in one,
Shannon. Get it from jail.
So, by the way, the March 20, 1982 show, hosted by Robert Urich, Brian Doyle Murray gives tribute to John Belushi, who died 2 weeks before the show aired. So there's your time frame for people listening. Ricky Lee Jones, Mink DeVille, John Cougar Mellencamp, Elton John, Charlie Daniels Band, Sparks, and Olivia Newton-John. So you could have put Taco in there somewhere. Come on. You could have bounced, I don't know, Fear, and put Taco on there instead.
Lauren wishes he had.
I was going to say Mink DeVille, but apparently it was an early punk rock band in New York, so maybe not.
Yeah, Lauren, I am positive, is very, very much wishing that he had never agreed to let Fear on there. But Belushi was like the big thing on SNL. I mean, he was one of the first big breakout stars of the show. You know, it's funny. As this was what I was going to say earlier. I know I mentioned it to Shannon. Cody, did I tell you about the book I was reading, that Wild and Crazy Guys? That's all about the 80s comedies and shit.
No,
it's like right behind me. Hold on.
While he's grabbing that, in the similar vein, Shannon, you'll appreciate that one of the books I'm reading right now, and Hunter, I think you'll do the same in part, is Those Guys Have All the Fun, which is the history of ESPN, written by James Andrew Miller, who also wrote the Live from New York SNL history, which I want to read.
So I guess I've been trying to figure out Nick's last name here. Dissemblian is what it looks like. Wild and Crazy Guys. Anyway, It was on sale at Barnes & Noble when they were doing their like big hardcover sale, and I eyeballed it a couple of times. I got it for $10, which is a great fucking deal.
Good day after Christmas sale.
It was super interesting, and basically everybody who's on the cover gets some focus. Everybody thinks Chevy was like the first big SNL star. Chevy was barely a star after he left SNL.
Yeah.
Like, of all the movies that he did, the only thing that really was any kind of smash hit were the vacation movies. And even then, it was mostly just the main one and Christmas. European Vacation didn't do as well as everyone expected. Vegas Vacation would years later, but that was when he had that weird little up and down. He did that, and then a few years later, he did Community and all that kind of shit.
But you also remember, and I forget this a lot, Christmas Vacation didn't come out until fucking 89. So he had been off the show for a decade almost at this point.
And he had some good movies, they just didn't do well. Funny Farm is a good movie, it just didn't do all that well. He maintains it's his favorite movie apparently. Fletch in particular was a big one.
Three Amigos. Which is Three Amigos is my
Three Amigos
one
is
of
my favorite in that era, but yes, even then.
And the thing about that is nobody ever calls it a Chevy movie because it's not.
It's
as
Steve
much
Martin
his movie
and Martin
as it
Short.
is
It's Stephen Short.
Yeah, exactly. Stephen Short. Well, that went up in the nostrils. I watched it.
Didn't even mean to, but got him.
Well,
we lost.
This is how you stop drinking. That's what'll do it.
Oh my god, that fucking hurt.
Oh,
I bet.
Yep. That's it. That's the
Oh,
reason I don't drink vodka anymore.
talk amongst yourselves.
There's an awful lot.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I did not mean to catch you that way. But you're right in the sense of Chevy. I mean, you look at the movies that literally came out, and while a lot of them are good, I mean, he did Caddyshack the year after he left the show. That was in 1980.
Like a Chevy movie. He doesn't really get
and that's the thing. None of it is him by himself. Yeah. Nothing stand out of that. No. I mean, hell, you would even give the Lampoon movies credit to Harold Ramis for the first one and then John Hughes for Christmas.
Yeah, even if they're not in it, they did so much of the...
Right, they directed and wrote it. Yeah, Hughes wrote...
Yeah, they did so much of the writing and everything.
European, yeah. And so that's the thing, is like a lot of what he did was carried by... And it's not to fully discount him, but it was carried by people who were doing other things and making it what it was.
I don't know, man. I think it's fair to discount it. Not fully, but I definitely think it's fair to discount Chevy to some degree because, again, he got so much credit early on. Mm-hmm. He left SNL. It was this big deal. Oh, I'm going to be, a big fucking star. And I mean, the way it was presented in the book, and I tend to agree with this, I think he was super jealous of Belushi because Belushi was not meant to be a star. That's not how that was supposed to work.
He was supposed to be a repository player.
And then all these just like hit after hit after hit. Animal House, Blues Brothers. I mean, those two alone are enough that, and you really do think of those as Belushi movies. Versus again, Chevy's movies were kind of like
Fletch and
Chevy
Vacation.
Chase is in there, right? He's in there, but he's not the even. If he's the star, it doesn't do all that well, like Fletch. And if he's not the star, then it does well, but you don't think of him first when you think of the movie. So.
Oh my god, I forget about this. Like I know, having read histories of it, he left in the middle of the second season. Like he didn't even spend that long on SNL. I forget about that at times. Is that he really wasn't there?
He's doing it too.
Well, do you remember?
Bill Murray. I mean, he made enemies during hosting. Sherry O'Terry, all the female writers.
Wild and Crazy Guy starts with them saying, "No one saw the punch coming, least of all Chevy Chase." Mm-hmm. And then the whole first prologue is devoted to that fight between Murray and Chase backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you remember when Chevy Chase got his own show? That did well.
That comes up in here too. Do you know how long that ran? Because I was curious. I was
40,
not cognizant.
It was like 40 episodes, wasn't it, or something like that?
Not even
5 weeks. It was on the air for 25
episodes.
Wow.
And that was it. Yeah, he was nightly for 5 weeks, and that's as far as they made it. It was terrible. I mean, it was just awful as a host.
I can't say I've ever seen anything from it.
I watched it when I was younger, especially that episode of like 93, right? 92, 93?
Yep.
When in that era especially, I loved watching late night TV. So I watched Chevy Chase's show back then, and it was bad. I remember even as a kid, I was like, this ain't funny. And I left at car wrecks.
You know how I found out that was a thing? Because I mean, in 93, I was 8. So I was definitely already like dipping my toes into watching Letterman and Conan whenever I could like stay up late in the summer and that kind of shit. But I never saw a Chevy show. You know how I found out it was a thing? A fucking Family Guy bit years later. And somebody will have to remind me, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's something to the effect of Brian and Sue where you're like dimension hopping, kind of like Homer does with the toaster in the Treehouse of Horror. and they think that they're safe, and they turn on the TV, and someone goes, they're announcing like all the stars that are going to be on the Tonight Show, Robert De Niro or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, he's good, and musical guests, the Foo Fighters, and they're like, oh yeah, I love them, they're great. And then they go, and now here's Chevy, and Stewie's like, Brian, we messed up real bad. We gotta go. And I was like, wait a minute, what?
One of the least personable people in Hollywood. How the fuck did anyone? I know it was the Fox network. They were trying a lot of shit. Who thought? Yes, Letterman, late Carson, Arsenio Hall.
Yes,
Chevy fucking Chase.
Chevy Chase, who has been famously in like arguments and fights with every person he's ever worked with.
When was the Arsenio Hall era? Because that was my first.
I just looked it up. 89 to 94.
So Arsenio and Chevy were both on the same network at the same time for at least 1 year?
I think Chevy was his lead-in. I think Chevy was on earlier.
I'm looking up because I was curious. Arsenio was syndication, apparently. Like, people could pick it up. So I'm looking at
Arsenio.
He did a late show. He did the initial late show on Fox when Joan Rivers was cut. But apparently then he would do something else.
Sense. Yeah, so probably anytime that I was seeing Arsenio, which was also very rare, I would be willing to bet that WGN picked it up around here out of Chicago, and we were seeing it on that.
Yeah.
What would have been, I guess it was
I'm trying to look and see what network it was on, because nothing is listed. It was just distributed by CBS Television Distribution.
See, I remember watching it on KBSI, which Fox 23.
Which was Fox.
Yeah,
our Fox.
Yeah. Right. By the way,
so maybe our Fox affiliate didn't pick up Chevy. Maybe they just didn't run that.
It's fucking hilarious.
Well, I'm trying to remember where I watched Chevy on, because I did watch it at the time, but I can't remember. I mean, my God, that was 50 years ago. By the way, for those of you tuning in, my name is Shannon Young. I'm sort of the host. Here with me, of course, is Double H.
Hey,
it's Cody Sandusky,
Megan the Robot.
How do you horse me now?
and Lindsay Wolfkong. Who is the only one here that probably doesn't follow the history of Saturday Night Live as deeply as we do, and she's better for it, honestly.
No, but I find it interesting when you guys talk about it.
I'll tell you what I talked about today. Just a quick side tangent before we jump back on SNL, because I also like talking about SNL. I was talking to a coworker today. She did not know who Elizabeth Bathory was. And I had to...
Really?
And when I explained it to her, she thought I was kidding. She thought I was making it up. I'm like, no, this is a real person that actually existed. Then I told her about Vlad the Impaler. And I'm like, her fucking mind's getting blown,
Man, speaking of books to relate to that, because I was talking about Wild and Crazy Guys a minute ago.
Which I've added my reading list, so thank you for that.
Yes, the last time I need to find some similar shit too, because I'm on a very big nonfiction kick. The last time that I picked up some hardcover stuff at Half Price in St. Louis, I found Aaron Mankey's podcast Lore. He does some books as well, like the World of Lore, and they're like different stories focused on kind of specific things. So somebody had just happened to trade in a copy of one called like Monstrous Creatures or something, and I was like, this looks cool. Like I'll pick this up and give it a shot. I like the way that he reads. Surely though his writing will be good too, and it is. I'm reading it. And the very first story in this one, as I pop it open the other night after I finished Wild and Crazy Guys, is about Mercy Brown. And I was like, oh shit, he did a podcast. Matter of fact, the first podcast he did was about Mercy Brown, the first American vampire and all that.
Yep.
And I get maybe 2 paragraphs in and I go, son of a bitch. It's just transcripts, man. It's just transcripts. I'm reading it and I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar, and it's cool to have it on the shelf in case something ever happens to the show. Now I've got hard copies of it, but I'm reading it and he mentions Vlad Dracul and his son and Draculea and how that becomes Dracula, the son of the dragon, and all that shit.
Right.
And I was just like, I know this word for word. In fact, I flipped to the end of it, and sure enough, it ends with it was the reveal of the guy who was interested in the story. It was Bram Stoker, and he went on to write Dracula. I'm like, yeah, okay. So then I go back and look at the chapter headings, and sure enough, they're the names of the podcast. The very first one's called "They Made a Tonic." I'm like, shit.
In that vein,
I didn't read any more of it yet.
I get that. In that vein, actually, another book I bought and read recently was John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed, which it's some expanded portions, but a lot of it is from the podcast he did for I'm blanking on the big in New York City NPR affiliate. But anyway, yeah, a lot of it's a similar thing.
No, that's the storytelling organization.
Yeah. But a lot of it is the same vein. He had a couple that are exclusive to the book, but that's like I've listened to the podcast in reference to the text of the book, and a lot of it is because he wrote the script for the show with his crew. That's what it is.
Right. It's just hardcover versions of it. You can go and read on your own if you want.
Recently I read Go Dog Go, which is a.
Is that part of the Fun with Dick and Jane series?
It's a wonderful story about a dog that didn't think he could go, but he did.
There you go. By the way, the very difficult.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard.
Everyone here is now dumber.
No, what a surprise!
I award you no points.
May God have mercy on your soul.
I got a nice little surprise today. Sarah told me she had ordered something for my birthday, so I got a couple of things. I don't say little things. That makes it sound bad. I got a couple of really nice things. I've got the Cards Against Humanity box is on the way, which I'm really excited about.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Storage box, yeah. But beyond that, she got me this like little magnetic like pen thing, so I can play with that at work, which is fun. And the apple, I told you guys the apple juice story, so I'm not gonna get into that one. But last night I had told her about the story with the book, and I was like, this is super fucking disappointing because I'm on a big like nonfiction kick right now, and she said something about having ordered something else, and I was like, boy, I wouldn't be upset if it was a book. And she goes, well, it is. And I was like, ooh. And then I got the Amazon alert by mistake on my phone, so I saw it was coming, but we got it when we got back home tonight. Shannon, I don't know if you know, but Peter Aykroyd, Dan's brother, wrote a story, because their family is famously very heavily involved in the paranormal, ghosts and mediums. And
it's not just a movie for him. No.
Yes. Yeah, so Peter wrote a book called The History of Ghosts, Mediums, Seances, etc. And Dan wrote a foreword for it. And sure enough, that's what was on our front porch when we got home. So that's on my nightstand now, and I'm going to start it tonight. And hopefully that'll be very interesting.
Well, I appreciate, again, my reading list is ever expanding here. I like this. I'm never mad about that.
Right now. Cody, I'm just going to send you my Goodreads profile, and then you can just do what you will from there.
That's admittedly the one thing my friends give me a lot of shit for, because I try to like be that guy that doesn't get fully in the weeds, integrated into like Amazon or everything. I don't have a Goodreads account, but I have a fucking reading list on Amazon of like, oh, that's good, I'll add it to my shopping list, and then I just check it out from the library later. So I'm the asshole I'm the hipster that says I'm different, but doing the same thing. Worst.
I don't read a lot.
24 books last year, so
reading is weird for me because I love knowledge, and I love like a sponge. I like soaking it in, but I don't read a lot, and I find that reading, I don't know, man, maybe I've got ADHD or something, because reading, I can read for a little bit, and then I'm antsy, and I need video.
So what I've done for that, if it helps you, because I famously was not, well, I say famously in the sense that you guys know what I do,
right? And famously we do.
Yeah. Right. I also, admittedly, was not a huge reader for many, many years. I like to read, and occasionally I would find something I was super interested in, but I did not make it a point to read regularly. Now, for the better part of a couple of years, I read, I would say, at least 15 minutes a day, even if it's just 15 minutes. I do it before I go to bed. And that really, it cuts a couple of different ways. It helps me in a couple of different ways. Number one, I feel like I've gotten something accomplished, even if I just read a chapter of something or a few pages of something that interests me. Number two, it does slow me down and kind of force me to focus on one thing. I'm out on my phone. I'm off of, the TV, so I don't have a screen. That blue light's not bothering me. And so it kind of helps me sleep too, which sounds bad. I'll read so I'll get tired. No, I read just so I can focus
wind
on
down.
one thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So, if you really want to try doing that, and that's not just for you, but obviously anybody who's listening, if you want to try to honestly, I think help improve your sleep and feel like you got something to accomplish and kind of get into the habit and mentality of reading, find something that interests you, first of all. Don't be afraid to give up on a book. I've given up on many. If you're not into it, you're not into it. Usually I just put it back on the shelf and I go, I'll try you again in a couple of months. We'll see what happens. And try to do it just literally until you get sleepy enough to fall asleep.
Dude, legitimately, I know we make the joke. We've made the joke a couple of times about as for Shannon Young, that ticking time bomb of insanity. That scene from the X-Files, from the best X-Files episode of all time, Jose Chung's From Outer Space, with Mulder sitting on the bed watching the
Zapruder film.
Zapruder
right?
film. Yeah.
Is it
No. It's Bigfoot. It's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. What is the name?
Who
of that?
did the Bigfoot film? Look that up. I need to know.
This is
Patterson Gimlin film.
Yes, there it is. Yeah. So
one film.
we joke about that, and I like that people compare me to Fox Mulder for obvious reasons, but that legitimately is me. You catch me at night, every single night, I'm laying in bed watching ghost videos or UFO videos. I'm watching stuff about the unexplained, and I fall asleep to it.
You could read books about those things, and it would do the same purpose, hopefully.
Probably. Although, especially when it comes to stuff like that, I think there is something about seeing evidence versus reading about. But I love both, for the record. I love both. I love reading about people's experiences, but I also love seeing, because most of the evidence that you see on TV or even on YouTube, most of it's bullshit. A lot of it's it's created, but there's some stuff that makes you question it. But I also do love reading that as well. And
I didn't
one
realize
does
until you reposted. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, one does shudder to think of how I find any enjoyment in life.
Until you posted that the other day, I went and looked for the first one, because we always skip over the part that he says about Scully, and I didn't realize how accurate it was to me. So now every time you bring it up, as for Shenny Young, that ticking time bomb of insanity, his quest in the unknown is so warped his psyche, one shudders to think how he receives any pleasures from life.
Sure.
I didn't realize how much I liked the other one for myself. Seeking the truth about aliens means a perfunctory 9-to-5 job for some. For although Hunter Hendricks is noble of spirit and pure of heart, he remains nevertheless a federal employee.
You are the Scully. You are the Scully to my Mulder.
And I'm over here as Raynard Sprainard, Sex Imperial.
Sex Imperial. So I say this.
The 1 year anniversary was a few days ago.
Oh, that Star Wars campaign was truly magical. I really loved it.
Oh my god, it really was.
So
I anticipate running that again in the near future with a completely unrelated group to this. And again, you guys know why. I'm very curious to see how different that turns out.
Oh my god, I can only imagine.
I hope you get some classic characters like a Harani Tar and a Jedi who passes away, but then his brother who looks exactly like him and even has the same name.
Oh yeah, you better believe
Landfill.
I fully expect to hear reports from Harani and Graz and
Sigurd. Was it Sigurd or Cade? Which one died? Cade died. Oh shit! Yeah, they're both dead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair. Yeah. At the end, they both died.
I'm really trying to decide when it comes time to do that, if I want to run that same campaign or if I want to try to, because that would be the third time then that I've run that campaign, although the first time wasn't to completion. Or if I want to try to finally homebrew some of my own stuff and pick up where basically you guys left off without ever telling them that. And then again, I can just tell you, like,
continue the story. Yeah.
They will have no idea. So
I say this not to make fun of her. I truly mean this, Lindsay. But I'm curious because Lindsay reads more than anyone I know. She reads a lot of like manga and comics. That's nothing wrong with that. That's why I said I'm not making fun of you. But like you've been reading them every night for years. How many different mangas would you say you have read?
I can't even tell you because even currently I'm reading about 30 different ones.
How?
Oh, damn.
How do you keep up with that? My God, you have the brain.
Because I have
2 books going on right now that's
apps,
not going
and I
well.
have ones that update specific days of the week. Like when we're done here, I'm going to go read my new episode of Lore Olympus on webcomics.
That's not manga. That's not manga.
Not like I don't read comics.
It's not,
like,
but it's fabulous, and I love
Hunter.
it. And if anyone has any interest in Greek mythology and wants to have a different take on the tale of Hades and Persephone, Lore Olympus is amazing.
She does enjoy it quite a bit. And Hunter, I was going to ask you, what is in that book there? I see a Ghostbusters comic you've got.
It's the collection of IDWs.
So this is, IDW did a Ghostbusters run for several years with Eric Burnham doing the pencils, and then Dan Shaning did all the writing. Dan Shaning, by the way, an absolute fucking master when it comes to writing for the Ghostbusters. He did an incredible job of really capturing, like, you can hear the original actors' voices in it. So there are... I think there's 3. Yeah, there's 3 like whole hardcover collections of IDWs run. There's Total Containment. One of them's Mass Hysteria, I think. Hang on.
Well, we don't want Mass Hysteria.
Yeah, so it's Total Containment, Mass Hysteria, and Interdimensional Cross Rip. They also wrote the crossover, the Ghostbusters Ninja Turtles one, which I've got down there too. These bad boys are a little pricey nowadays. I've had them for several years since they came out. Now I think they run about $60 a pop. They're not.
I've been looking for them in the secondhand market. Boy, it's hard and pricey.
And basically, when it comes to comic books, this is all I have anymore. I have some other things at my workplace that I put on my bookshelf there. I had a whole bunch of stuff here, but I knew I wasn't going to read it here, so I wanted to make it available to other people. So I've got some collected Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man stuff, but at this point, it's Calvin and Hobbes and these. That's it.
I have quite a collection of comics myself in there. A lot of Batman, surprisingly, considering how much I kind of don't like Batman. But I do love Batman stories because I think he has some of the best
there's
comics.
some great ones.
Yeah.
As a whole, I get having beef with him, but there's some collected runs that are fantastic.
The things that I moved to my workplace library are Haunted Night, Dark Victory, The Long Halloween.
Yep, got all three of those.
Hush was the other. Hush is Court of Owls. Court of Owls.
Oh my God. Yeah, because we had a Court of Owls, Death of the Family, and what the next one was with the Joker in that run. My buddy had it at work.
Maybe
was it City of Owls?
Yeah, there's one of those. Is one of them.
I don't have the Court of Owls one, which is a little ironic considering when I started in wrestling, I wore a Court of Owls mask. Yeah, but I do have a bunch added to that. I know I've got the Killing Joke. I've got there's another Joker one that was really good. That I can't remember the name of it. Where you see.
Family?
No, it's the one.
The family.
It's the one where the story isn't even about the Joker. It's about like a low-level thug in the Joker's gang when Joker gets out of jail and how he deals with it. It's actually a really good comic. I can't remember the name of it or much about it. I also have Kingdom Come, all the classics, a ton of X-Men comics, like all collected. Maximum Carnage, which was always one of my absolute favorite series. The Age of Apocalypse series, which I absolutely loved back then. How
dare you not have the Clone Saga, that entire chaotic mess.
I have one. I don't know if I still have it anymore, but it was I got it from a book fair years ago. I probably don't have it, but it was a collection of X-Men comics from like the 60s or 70s. It was pretty old, and I remember Arcade was in it. It was the first time I saw Arcade. If you remember him, wow. Yeah, it was it was back when Cyclops still had the swim cap, which I fucking hate. Absolutely, I'll never like that. I got the Coheed and Cambria, the entire series of the comics for that.
Yep.
I got the Jubilee series, I'm pretty sure. I got the Emma Frost series because I'm a big Jubilee fan, obviously. I don't know. I got a lot of comics here and there. A lot of Angel comics.
No, mine is I have one of the it's the different 4 publications or the 4 parts of it, but I've got one of the Coheed collections. I want to say it's Burning Star Volume 1 because No World for Tomorrow has still never come out because he's going to work on that eventually. I have, again, much like Batman, while I hate a lot of what Superman does in the comics or like how they write him, I have Superman for All Seasons and All-Star Superman, and those are 2 of my favorites of any comic thing ever because All-Star is just fantastic.
I have All-Star, yeah.
But I thought you had American Alien, too.
No, because I was looking for American Alien, and I actually plan on checking it out from the library soon.
I mean, the best
Red Sun is the other one I want to have because Red Sun is phenomenal.
Kingdom Come, if you haven't read Kingdom Come, it's like I think
it's a must read.
Right,
it's a must read.
I have All Star Superman, and I know we're all over the place here. What really strikes me about All Star Superman is how like well received it was as compared to All Star Batman, which I remember reading the first issue of that and like this is fucking stupid.
Frank Miller, shat the bed.
I'm the goddamn Batman.
Frank Miller is very much it is hit or miss, and it all too often is more miss than hit.
Yeah. But brother did sense
when he's on, but boy, you got to wade through a lot of shit to get to a sandwich. Like,
it's almost like '98 WWF.
or
when it's great, it's the best you've ever seen. But boy, you better be ready to watch a lot of shitty Raw.
I hope you like Bob Holly.
How do you like me now?
Thurman Sparky. So Dalton sent me a text today. He said it was just I guess he got No Mercy finally, I'm assuming. And it was just a picture of Bob Holly coming out on his TV. And he was like, son of a bitch. And then he just beat the shit out of me. And I'm like, well, how do you like him now?
That's what Bob Holly does.
That's the only question
you can No Mercy.
Does not care.
Was he looking that hard for a copy of No Mercy? I have it here. I would have sold it to him.
Oh yeah, he's been begging me. He's like, dude, can you get one in at the store? I'm like, maybe, man. It's not as easy as it used to be to get these things in.
No,
right.
I feel like
I don't know if my
dealer.
copy is one of the ones that'll erase his save data or not, but I'll fucking sell it to
Oh
him.
my god, I'll never forget the first time I was playing No Mercy, and I went to go play my creative character, and he came out completely naked as a default, and I went, wait, what? Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck you.
That was the real villain in that game.
Yep, that 1.0 run that everyone had to get refunded and send a new one in. Yep.
What's funny is, you think with the new advances in games, it's every time you get a bug or a glitch, it's like, well, at least now they can patch it out. But most of the time, they don't even goddamn do that, Call of Duty.
They don't do that. Yeah, you got to reload the entire game to use your Battle Pass token.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
3 months in.
The game's...
3 months in. And it's been happening since the day they launched the Season Pass.
Oh, my God. They don't care about us. They're like the president.
They don't care about us.
I already had a woman I can't tell you where I work or what or who it was, but I had
one of the mysterious daytime jobs.
Yeah, I had a woman come in and she was telling me a story about giving out mistaken change, and she's telling us, she's this old white woman, and she tells me, she's like, I gave the change back, and the woman said, I gave you 100, and I said, no, you didn't. You gave, and she stops, and she was dark. I was like, what?
And then just like waited for a response from you.
Waited for me to
nod.
Nod.
On you to go, okay,
she was dark. I get why you say these things now. Okay.
Go on with the story.
So you did nothing wrong because you're white. Got you.
Right.
God damn.
It's their fault for being the wrong color. All right. I think I'm done here.
We had such a good podcast going.
This has been a stimulating and informative hour. You should start this with like some really like upper crust, little string quartet type music. Like,
okay, so not Putting on the Ritz by Taco. Got it.
That's how it ends. It ends with Putting on the Ritz.
The full song. And if fucking Spotify says anything to me, I'll tell them to suck a lemon. Hey, Hunter, before we get out of here, SNL, does SNL come back tonight?
It does. Aubrey Plaza and Sam Smith.
Mm-hmm.
What do you? All right,
I'm just back on. I'm gonna watch it in the morning.
I asked this in all seriousness, not because I'm trying to pad this show out. How do you think it'll go with Aubrey Plaza? Because I like Aubrey Plaza a lot, but she kind of has that single dead-eyed look. I don't know. Do you think she's funny?
Here's the one thing that I will say, because I don't know. SNL nowadays is very weird. Like Charles Barkley hosts, he's not funny at all, and it's one of the best
It's
episodes.
fucking hilarious.
And then you get legitimately funny people on the show, and you're like, what the hell was that? That was awful.
Yeah.
Here's what I think you can bank on. It is not a mistake that she is hosting, obviously for like projects and stuff that she's doing, but also because they've been on a break since Wednesday came out. And if you think they're not doing a fucking Wednesday sketch with Aubrey Plaza starring in it, you're out of your mind.
Oh my God, I hadn't thought about that.
She was the best
that's
Daria.
Absolutely happened.
So
the live action Daria.
Well,
she was Jane though, wasn't she? Or
no, she was Daria. She was Daria. Yeah,
Who was Jane? I don't remember.
I'll have to go watch it again. It was College Humor, I think, right? Or no, Funny or Die.
Yeah, it was college.
I said Funny or Die.
I think it was Funny or Die.
Right. I think it was Funny or Die. Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. We'll see how.
Also, we saw Megan today. I was totally going to talk about that. There's not really a lot to say, other than like it was good. I enjoyed it. I think it was fun. Sarah and I both liked it.
Let me ask.
It's not great. It's not like over the top. Oh my God, this was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Well, I was going to ask you: is it good? Is it fun in the way that like it's ridiculous and stupid, but we had a good time, or it's actually a well written movie and was fun?
It splits the difference. Like when it gets ridiculous, it's fortunately in such a way that you don't think too hard about it. Like you're not going to stop and go, well, that doesn't make sense. Like you're just into it. Like, oh yeah, this is fucking great. And when it does stop and think about what it's doing, you're kind of like, oh, that's horrifying. That's very scary. Like they legitimately, it's never scary in the sense of like I'm gonna jump out of my seat or anything. And there's only a couple of times where like stuff happens in such a jumpy way. It's PG-13 too, so they can only get away with so much. But it is sort of it's unsettling. I mean, they leaned into the uncanny valley, but verbally as well. So not only does she look a little too realistic, but obviously something's off. But there are times when, not to spoil anything, but a character will say something to the to Megan, and she's like, well, "Why?" And you're like, "Oh no, you shouldn't be asking that. That's not okay.
That's not how that works."
It's very much the conversations we've had about AI, on I Want to Believe, and just in general around here. Like there are times that the way it responds, you go, oh, that's a little too real.
Yeah.
And I don't care for that at all. The ending, I think it's going to be polarizing. I didn't hate it, but I feel like the ending is where it kind of just reached a point of like, okay, I could see you didn't know what else to do here.
I mean, part 2's already in the works.
Right, they left it open for a sequel, and you can see exactly how it's going to go. So,
I thought Elizabeth.
Why it ended the way it did.
I thought Elizabeth Olsen did a good job.
Who?
As Emily Olsen? What's her name? Is Elizabeth?
You mean Allison Williams?
No, the girl that played Megan.
She's a child actress named Amy Donald.
She's not like well known at all.
I know.
Are you going for one of the Olsen twins?
Yeah,
because Elizabeth Olsen is their like older sister.
She's the good one. She's the good actress. Yeah, no, I just that girl looks so like the first time I saw it, I think someone made a. Well, it just looked like one, and someone made the meme of this is what happens when you take Scarlet Witch and turn it into Vision. Is you get Megan.
I will say I honestly thought Allison Williams was the weakest part of the whole thing. They kind of built her up as like the big star because she's the biggest name person in the cast, arguably. It did not feel like she got a lot of direction. There are a lot of times that she makes some really interesting acting choices. I get that she's meant to play without giving away too much. She's meant to be as a character this kind of like disconnected, like doesn't really get humans very well. She's a programmer. So the stereotype gets in of like she doesn't get people, but she understands tech.
Yeah.
But like sometimes she's very emotive. It's weird knowing that because correct me if I'm wrong, she was also in Get Out, right? She was the main female character in Get Out. It was great in that, and I remember like the turn of she's horrified to suddenly being like, I can't do that, right? Like it was such a good little twist with her. In this movie, I felt like there was not a lot of direction given to her. Like she kind of just spends a lot of time dead-eyeing it, and that was an odd choice to me.
So my problem with this film,
the little kid, by the way, was great though. She was very good. The girl who plays like the main female character, the child actress, she was very good. Violet McGraw, I think is her name.
Yes,
it's a combination of Jason Blum and James Wan, who. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, two of the biggest overrated hacks in horror. I will never forget the night we all watched *Malignant* and thought, "Oh, this looks kind of cool." And me and Lindsay, Jesse, and Shelby, and we all were like, "Krusty the Clown, what the hell was that? That was one of the most ridiculous, stupid things I'd ever seen."
I have seen a lot of in the wake. I looked at this on the way home, by the way. In the wake of this, I've seen a lot of people say *Malignant* was their like big misstep. It looked like it was going to be great, and then it was basically awful. This is almost the polar opposite. Everybody saw the trailer for Megan and went, "Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. This is going to be terrible," and it turned out pretty good. So it might just be lowered expectations, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I was not upset that we spent money to go see it.
The crazy part about that, though, so *Malignant* and Megan, and also the upcoming sequel, Megan 2, and The Nun 2, because The Nun was a great one to begin with, they were all written by the same person, Akilah Cooper. And Akilah Cooper is actually from Hayti, Missouri, which is pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
She graduated from Truman.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Huh. Did not know that. Yeah.
So, local girl done good type thing, even though *Malignant* was terrible. *Malignant* was really bad. I can't stress to you how much I dislike *Malignant*.
Yep.
It was
I
the
never
first
watched it.
great, but also fuck this movie.
No, it's good.
It was the part where Cody, have you seen it?
Shannon.
Oh right, yeah, I get you. If you guys have any interest, can I spoil a spoiler real quick?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
All right,
if you did actually when it came out,
I'm pretty sure.
Warning for *Malignant* for those listening.
Yeah,
to the
if you've never seen
3,
*Malignant*,
2, 1.
so
if you've never seen *Malignant*, turn it off here.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen *Malignant*, don't watch it. It's
save yourself.
It's the little face goes out the back of her head because the story is that they goddamn that's a late join, but
shit.
Tanner Calvert here with us. And Tanner, we're talking about
Tanner's
shit.
muted. He ain't responded.
I don't know if Tanner's seen *Malignant*. I don't want to say anything. Tanner, are you there? All right. Oh, there he is.
Park twice if you're in Milwaukee.
I am here.
Tanner,
join in your fucking car.
No. His house just has really good air conditioning. Tanner, have you seen *Malignant*?
No.
Are you going to watch it?
No.
Okay, then the basic story of *Malignant* is that this woman had a parasitic twin on the back of her head and back of her body, and they In the beginning,
You do.
yes, and it has, of course, it has psychic powers, and it's evil.
Yes.
So in the beginning, they remove the body, and then they basically just push the face into her head and cover it up, and it stays dormant. Well, then her abusive boyfriend, when she's an adult, like beats her and pushes her against the wall, and she smacks her head on it, which wakes up the other version. And the other version literally like sticks this little head out of the little, a hole that the guy put in there. And when it happens,
Hello.
yeah, it just goes hello. Her long hair is in its face, so it looks like a guy with long hair covering his face. She starts walking backwards, and then she knows fucking not just black belt, but like rainbow belt karate. I kid you not.
Rambo-y belt.
Yeah.
There is
Well,
It was
there's
total
a
bullshit.
there's a part in the movie where this fucking thing attacks a police station and does flips off walls, starts cutting people up, and I'm going, what the fuck is this? This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. This is awful.
Yeah, okay. So again, I don't think it's much of a spoiler because you've seen it in the trailer. But the Megan version of that, you remember in the this is the one thing that I remember thinking like, okay. You remember in the trailer, like the dance that everybody was like, oh, she does the cartwheel and the kick, and you're thinking like, there's definitely going to be an explanation for that. Like, you're going to get to see the. Nope.
She just dances.
I mean, to be fair, like it builds up to a kill, and it definitely happens like at the height of the thing's like insanity. But there's no like real logical explanation for here's why she does a weird little dance and then grabs a paper cutter and goes after a guy. Like, it just kind of happens.
It's that's the piece de resistance.
Yeah, it's very entertaining, and I didn't hate it, but I remember thinking after the movie, like, oh, I definitely assumed in the build-up to that we were going to find out why that happened. Nope, they gave that shit away in the trailer 100% the way it happens in the movie.
That's good filmmaking is what that is. All right, that's where we're going to end it for the night with
What a low point to end it on after such a great discussion.
Megan dancing is where we're going to end it. All right.
Man.
We'll be back next week. Oh, actually, hold on. Before we get out of here, Hunter, can you read off the names of the legendary chat so that way we can entertain? People love this bit. They love to hear the names we've come up with. So
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had to reopen it because I closed it because I'm getting ready to close my computer. So currently, Asa Gray is the Ferris wheel of anger. Cody Sandusky remains Dick Blatant, aka Nightwing.
Yep.
Nightwing.
For some reason,
Favorite of recent months. It's fine.
For some reason, my name is Roy Taylor. It's very bland. Bob is still Mangly. Just Mangly. Jessica Kimball is the Blood Ninja. Kaz, who is a Zoom horse tonight, is named Cattle Pass. Shannon's name is Friday Me Drake.
What?
I don't know. Stevens is Green de la Bean.
Hell yeah. Come Ireland.
Tanner is definitely Monster Fingers. And Zach Kurgis is Bub Rub Whistle Fan. So,
Whoop, whoop.
It goes whoop, whoop.
that's the Bub Rub of time.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, we'll be back next week with all new episodes. Potentially a new I Want to Believe next week. There's some big information that came out. The government has released its most extensive UFO report or UAP report.
Not on Monday for me.
Well, they don't know when we recorded, Hunter. They don't know. They don't know.
You'll have to get enough time.
But we'll definitely be back with. Are we doing plays next week, Cody?
As far as I know.
All right. So
I'm on.
So definite plays, definite PW. We'll have some After Dark, some horse time next
PW
week.
on my birthday.
Yeah. Well, shit. Are we doing a PW then? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right. We'll talk about Bob Holly for your birthday. I know that's what you want. And we'll do
How
it.
do you like me now?
We'll do it all next week. So for myself, for Hunter, for Cody, for Lindsay, and for Tanner, briefly, this has been a Bob Horse production. We'll see you guys next week. Cody, take us out.
How do you like horses now?